Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and today I'm here to share with you a tour of my sewing room. Now, we have been in our house now, let's see, about 3 months, and of course with everything that was going on, we weren't able to complete everything that we needed to as quickly as we initially thought we would, but that's okay. We were able to keep making slow progress, and that was good enough. I know I mentioned right after we got in that I was going to do this tour, and so I know it's been a little while, but thank you for your patience. And my goal today is just to kind of show you my space and how I make things work for me, and hopefully that will give you ideas that you can use in your own sewing space that will work for you, and just get a little bit inspired. I do have to say I did clean it up. It's not always this neat. I had some pictures taken the other day and got things cleaned up. So it really isn't, while it's usually pretty clean, it's not always this clean. So I will make that statement at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stand in different parts of the room and tell you what I use that space for and how it functions, and hopefully you'll get some great ideas. Let's get started. So normally you just see me standing behind my work table in the center of the room, but right now we've got the camera right by the door. So this is what you see when you walk in the room. And I've got the 2 windows that give great light in the room. They're not doing so well with the camera today, probably. But that is the biggest reason I picked this room for my sewing room, was because it had 2 windows and I knew I could get great lighting during the day. Okay, so I'm actually standing on the other side of my work table that you usually see me at, and this, I'll start here with our tour because this is really the workhorse, other than my sewing machine, of this room. I cut out all my projects on this table, and it also provides really great organization. I just really fell into this table. I got really lucky one day. My husband and I were at the DMV and went next door to a little tiny little furniture shop, and they had this, and I knew that it would work for my sewing room. And I've had lots of questions. I will link the manufacturer. It's been a few years since I got it. I don't know how easy it is to find anymore, but I know people have been able to find it from RC Willey and Wayfair in different parts of the country. So I will link the information, but it's just been a great table. I love that it has this drawer that I can keep some rulers in. I have my 12.5-inch square up ruler here that I use all the time, and some other rulers and whatnot. So this has just been really great. There are 2 storage areas right here. This one I just keep a bin in that I can put scraps, and so I'll generally have it up on my work table, but store it down here. Over here I just have paperwork, files, patterns, things that I'm working on. I try to keep this space empty so that I can just put stuff under there and quickly clean off the surface, so that I can do the cutting. Down here are these great filing cabinet drawers, and so I'm able to file patterns and papers and have them at easy access. Like I said, I don't know what this table was created for by the manufacturer, but it works great for sewing. And then on this side of the table and on the other side of the table, there are 2 drawers and a little cabinet cubby on each side. And I use those to store small notions and a little bit of fabric. Okay, so this is over kind of on the east side of my room, and I have another work table that I just absolutely love. I actually saw this at Corey Yoder's house last summer when I was visiting her last August. And it's an Ikea piece. I'll put all the information about it. I put it together myself, and just had to have my husband come at the very end and help me put the wood top on. But when I bought it, I initially thought it was going to be an ironing station, but then I quickly found out that I just really needed another workstation. And so this is great. I often if I have my other cutting table full of things, I can come over here and I have the cutting mat here and I can cut small things or trim small things. And I also use this one to just kind of constantly store a lot of tools all the time. So whereas the other one I try to keep it open and clear so that I can work on, this one I just store lots of things: pin cushions, wonder clips, scissors, rotary cutters, specialty tools, seam rollers, pencils, just kind of every bit. My block lock flying geese rulers I keep in this basket, all the different sizes that I have, so that I can just pull them out whenever I need it. You can tell that I use these a lot because I have them right on top of the table. So yeah, favorite scissors and rulers, little bits. The other thing I like about this station is that it had the shelves beneath, and I just got baskets, and I can use them for storing different things. This one just has some scraps in it for things that I'm working on now. This one has a project that I'm working on, my village house quilt along. I keep it in this basket. I can pull it out, I can take it to my workstation. And then this one is actually scraps that are waiting to be trimmed. These are left over from some recent projects that I did, and I need to move them from here into my scrap storage system. And I'll kind of show you that a little bit later in the tour. But this has just been a really great workspace. I've got my daylight lamp here that gives me great lighting if I need it at night, and just a really great space right here. Okay, so this corner of the room is my ironing station, and this is one thing that I might like to do something a little bit different with in the future. Maybe get a table instead of a board. I'm still looking. This is working fine for now. This is just a Costco ironing board. I do love the wool mat for pressing. It just really helps to make my seams press flatter. My Rowenta steam iron has been a great addition. I've had it for almost a year and just absolutely love it. And then this is just to fill up the iron, a spray bottle. I love flatter. If I'm going to use a solution on my fabric when I'm pressing, I'm going to use this one first. And if I need it really flat, I might use the Best Press, but I really don't use this as much as the flatter. So I just keep these in a basket, and when I'm ironing, I'll just move them over onto the work table that's right next to it so that my surface is open. Okay, so here I am at my sewing station, and I sew with a Janome Memory Craft 6600P. I've had it for several years, and I just have loved this machine. I had a Memory Craft 4000 before that I used, and it's just been a great machine. I also have the Janome table, which I probably wouldn't have got, but my husband actually got it with the machine. He and the kids surprised me at Christmas one year with this, and I'm so glad he got the table. I get a lot of questions about it, and it is manufactured by Janome, and has a drawer where I can keep my extra feet, my diagonal seam tape that I use all the time, and I have extra needles in there too. I love this light. I'll link it. It just really, I don't know if you can see in the daylight, but it just really just shines a really great light down, especially if I'm sewing at night. Some people have noticed this. I have just a little command hook on my machine, and I keep some scissors right there. So that's something I actually learned from a student in a class I was teaching about a year ago, and I've used that ever since. I do use a thread stand to keep my thread, and I use a large spool of Aurifil instead of using the small spool. And I just feel like it feeds better and runs through the machine better. Of course, you've got to have a pin cushion and a thread catcher. And I actually will link this pattern. This is a pattern that you can buy. And Terry, that made this for me, just did a phenomenal job, and she sells her patterns as well. And then this I just keep right by because I can actually roll it. Sometimes I'll have it over on the left side or on the right side, but I can just keep little projects in here. I try to sew patchwork as leaders and enders in between projects, and try to have some place to put those while I'm working with them. I've got extra binding strips in here that I'll just keep. And then down below, I just, you know, have blockheads, blocks, and other projects that I'm working on. So I love having this and just being able to slide it around. And it is just I think it's called the Raskog cart from Ikea. Okay, so this is just kind of a little storage decorative area. This is another Ikea cabinet. I can't remember the name of this one, but I'll put it in the description. And I just keep, back here I have some extra rulers that I use frequently. Just pin cushions, more rulers, just kind of decorative things that I like. And this has been a real lifesaver. I can set my patterns on it, and I'll actually sometimes take it over to my work table when I'm working on something so I can just read. So it's just a little stand that I got from Fat Quarter Shop. And then down here, this is some great storage. These are actually the oils that I use to clean my machine in a little basket, some bigger rulers. These are great. These are like the wool pressing bars, but you can put your small quilt block on there and press, and it will really get it flat because of the curved shape. So I like having this ready available. And then down here, I've shown some of these bins before. These are like my little scrap bins, and I have them labeled. And so these are low volume prints from the Sherri and Chelsea collections. And I'll just put scraps in here. This one is a 2.5 strip bin. And so, you know, when I'm finished working on a project, I'll cut up the scraps and put them in these bins. And I love having these just really easily accessible in the room, and they're labeled. I actually have an empty one right now. When I was filling these up, I thought, well, I'll think of something for it later, but these are great to just be able to come over here if I'm working on a project and just pull out a bin of small strips or medium strips or squares and pull those out. So this has been a really great cabinet. And then this bin is just an empty bin. I actually emptied it recently, but I throw scraps in here, and when it gets, I try not to let it get all the way full. When it gets about halfway full, I know it's time to do something with the scraps inside. But I can take this easily over to my sewing machine to put scraps in, or over to my work table and just throw the scraps in here until I'm ready to deal with them. Okay, so this is the newest thing I've added to the sewing room. And when we bought the house, this was just a little indention space. I'm thinking maybe the original owners maybe intended to do a built-in here or something, but we were really blessed to find a great carpenter who came up with a plan for this space. And so I'm able to store bolts of fabric and my little Singer. I wish I knew more about these featherweights, but maybe someday I'll get more into them. But at least I have one, and she sits on the shelf here. And then I've got more bolts of fabric up here that I can store. So this has just been a great storage space. And then down below, these are kind of my pre-cut storage, and these, a lot of them are fabrics by other designers. I've got some of our fabrics down there too, but these are things that I really do have projects in mind for. And actually the next month or so is when I'm going to be opening up some of these bundles and sewing, because we won't have fabric again for our next collection for probably about a month at least. So it's nice to have this stored where it's out of the sun and out of the light. Okay, so just some more storage. These are actually Billy bookshelves from Ikea. I have 5 of them total in the room. I'll show you the other 3 in just a second, but I have 3 of the large ones and 2 of the small ones. And they are great because the shelves are adjustable and you can store whatever you need to. I do like to have, you know, these are more rulers. This is really accessible to my work table, so these are rulers that I'm grabbing quite frequently. And then extra fabric, all the fabrics from here and down are from Sherri and Chelsea fabric collections. And so when I'm finished sewing all of our sample quilts for a collection, I'll fold them up, and then I try to arrange bigger pieces that are left over by color. And so, and then in the bins, I have small projects that I'm working on, or small things that I want to keep stored together. And then just a few decorative things to add to the mix. But I really do like these shelving units for everything that they offer and how easy they were to put together too. Okay, and so this is kind of the last space in the sewing room. More Billy bookshelves from Ikea, and I keep bolts here. I always keep our latest fabric collection right here. So these are the Balboa fabrics that I've been sewing with. It just makes a lot of sense that I can easily access them when I'm working on the quilts and the projects with the most recent collections. And again, I just have little bins and things for storage on the rest of the shelves. And up top, these are the fat quarter bundles from all of our Moda collections. I guess we have room for probably just a couple more. I'll have to move this bin before too long, and then figure out where to start storing more. But yeah, just and this is the backdrop that you always see when I film the videos. So, but just, you know, more storage. I feel like it's all pretty accessible for me, and it really helps to keep everything clean. I do have kind of a messy closet right now. It's where I have some more bins of fabric stored by color and some more plastic boxes that are labeled with other fabrics. Maybe someday I'll be able to do some custom shelving in there, which would be great, but for now it works because everything that I work with on a regular basis is out here. Okay, that's it for my sewing room tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can find some inspiration for maybe some organizational ideas that you can use in your own space. And I'll try to link as many of the things as I talked about as I can, and hopefully I can find all of them still available now. But please subscribe to the channel. We have lots more great videos coming your way, and thanks so much for stopping by.